So, today we're gonna talk about the newest Thunder 6-star, Shadows of Ink, Amemori. Yes, it's finally time to take a more in-depth approach to everything our favorite Naruto cosplayer has to offer, so we can clear up for good if it's worth throwing some of your resources at her, or if you should rather just use a substitution jutsu on your wallet before it's too late. But before we get into all the juicy details, let me thank all of my channel members, and of course also an extra big thank you to the VIP of the channel, the Grand Warlock. Thank you all so much for supporting me so that I can keep delivering some scuffed YouTube content. Also, small side note, join the Discord. But enough of that. Let's see all of these secret ninja techniques Ame puts to use while looking at her skill set. And before we actually get to what she does, I do have to give one massive disclaimer, because if you've played Ame's trial, you might think that she spawns 5 katana at the start of a quest, but that's actually false advertising, as Tourdog screwed up big time this time around and just included things in the trial that are literally impossible to achieve with her actual skill set. So, we've got that out of the way, so now we can finally look at how she plays. Her active skill is probably the core of her whole playstyle. This just lets you play God of Thunder for a second, sending down a Thunder katana on a selected tile. And if there's already another katana on this tile, you proceed to instantly teleport to it, also picking up all katanas on the field while you're at it, which results in each retrieved sword dealing 150% death-ignoring damage to the nearest enemy to your post-teleport position. In true teleports behind your fashion. Only that now you are the one having the last laugh. And as this does have a glorious CD of none at all, aka 0, just like my bank account after my yo rolls, the frequency of katana spamming solely relies on your ability to produce ninja power. So after some training arcs and watching some finger jutsu training videos, you should be fine, right? Well, not exactly, as your income of NPP are sadly limited to A. and passive income of 1 per turn, B. 1 refunded point whenever you use your skill to actually teleport, and the dreaded C. whenever Ame changes to the, you guessed it, captain position. You could say that you usually only have 1 NP per round, and also exactly twice per quest, 1 more through sacrificing all of your loved one captain changes. Which also means that you can't make use of that sweet teleport on turn 1, unless you either offer your life savings to the greatest Aurorian in existence and get breakthrough free, which gives 1 more NP per wave, or just get to an Aurora time. Why? Well, because her active is thankfully not her only way to let your foes shower in swords, as her 2nd and 3rd stage chain, aka her 8th and 13th ones, spawn 1 and 2 katanas respectively. And while this says random, it actually really isn't, as all swords created by her chain will also spawn in her respective chain combo range, which kind of makes it possible to estimate where they will land, but unless you're a clairvoyant in training, I wouldn't set too much hope into this. So, if you want a normal teleport or a global one and don't wanna get BT free, honestly just show some patience and wait till turn 2, where you can either decide to start looping some chain generated TPs, or for a limited one-time offer utilize a global TP by just using your active twice on the same spot for the low cost of 4 ninja points and all your captain changes. But let's talk about more positive things and get back to her chain, because there's actually some noteworthy details about it, like for example the fact that she also uses it when there's no enemy or object in range. Yes, even her 1st chain that doesn't spawn any katana at all, which is questionable, but I guess either Tourdog was lazy while programming, or Ame might just be a huge show-off, and she probably likes to do that most of the time in company of someone qualified, as her biggest chain synergy is of course Florane, who else? Her active lets Ame not only deal more damage, which is quite obvious, but also triggers her 8th and 13th chain spawn effect twice, resulting in twice the pain, twice the katana, twice the fun, and also twice the efficiency, as getting 4 katana doesn't only give you lots of teleport options, but also allows you to make use of another equipment effect of hers, which is a secret technique that is said to be only achievable by ending all of your sentences with Degozaru for 30 years, or just have at least 4 katana on the field, and then the next time you use your active to teleport, you will get 1 randomly summoned bonus sword, which is nice, but to be fair it doesn't happen a lot, outside of Florine doing her thing of course. So now that we got most of the intricacies of her kit out of the way, let's talk about the second most important thing, her damage. And while her attack stat sure might be big, her performance compared to the true gods of Thunder sure isn't. So obviously she isn't going to dethrone Michael, nor any other often used DPS options like Luke, Requiem or Ko. She's more of an alternative that offers more extra utility that you can make use of if you're lacking some characters, or just a supplement to aforementioned true powerhouses. But there's one thing that makes her at least somewhat unique, and that's her ability to do pretty funny katana bursts. What do I mean? Well, of course every katana does damage on TP, so you can just, theoretically, if you want to waste 10 minutes of your life, stack 25 plus katanas on the field, and 100 to 0 some Spire or Elysium water bosses, or fail trying. But nobody would be bored and crazy enough to actually do that, right? Right? Why are you looking at me? Anyway, she's basically an okay Tessa Eve mix if you decide to use her in that way, but just in general, she can do decent damage in even endgame content thanks to her EQ, if you can enable a constant stream of 8 and 13 chains. And how do you achieve that? Well, that's a topic for the second segment of this review, team compositions and co. And let's get the most obvious candidates out of the way first. Florine. This is a no-brainer, as she should be a stable team member if you want to make the most out of Ame, because spamming out katanas is vital to keep up your ability to constantly teleport every other turn, and something else you need to do exactly that, and also to utilize Florine herself, is, of course, lots of conversion. Like I said, it is critical for Ame to be able to make use of her 8 or 13 chain as often as possible, and this can only be achieved by having enough converters, and prime candidates for this would be low CD converters like Beverly or Gronru, but also Iridon and MBT Nemesis get the job done. Ideally, you would want to have around 3 converters in an Amemori-centric team. Couple that with the already now pretty often mentioned Florine and the flex spot, and you have your ideal team that's built around Amemori. Of course that's not the only way to play her, as an Amemori-centric team might be fun and all, but is in practice not really better than any of the up till now standard teams. And another way to make use of Amemori is of course by abusing her non-existent CD and her ability to quite often use her active, aka use her as a second reserve battery alongside Luke in the by now infamous Tessa team. And well, this team usually has at least one flex spot, so you can definitely run her in there as your main captain, as Tessa is pretty suboptimal for that spot anyway, or of course also by just slotting her in as a sub DPS battery, this should also work quite well. The only problem that arises here is that using her active still needs a lot of chains, and this is not really ideal, making her probably not the best in slot for this kind of team, but she's definitely a valid option. Last but not least, we of course have burst and OTK strategies. And to say it outright, unless you want to delay your burst to turn 2, you will need to get that PT3 to get the job done, aka setting up Nemesis properly for your big bad burst. If you for some reason already have an MBT Michael, you don't really need her anyway. But if you struggled setting up your Thunder Burst till now, both of these aforementioned options are pretty valid. And speaking of her BTs, let's go over these real quick. BT3, like I said, is only really vital for turn 1 burst setups, else you don't need this at all. And MBT is... come on. Do you really want to give a dog with a fedora $500 for just one captain change? Yeah, I didn't think so either. And now that this is cleared up, let's get to the wrap up. All in all, our newest Thunder 6-star converter, aka Megumin in a Naruto cosplay, is... pretty fun. While she might not be the meta breaker a lot of us were hoping for, she does at least provide a surprisingly entertaining and satisfying gameplay style. But by far her biggest flaw while doing that is that enabling this fun time costs you quite a lot of investments. Ame wants Florine, Ame wants lots of conversion, Ame wants your wallet, wait what? So if you don't want to commit to that, and also having to end your sentences with Degusaru till you're 30 and became the chosen one, or just want to get actually worthwhile meta characters, have fun waiting. Ame is not the ninja for you. While teleporting behind you and saying nothing personal kid is a pretty fun activity if you ask me, and raining down thunder swords of tribulation down on your opponents is equally enjoyable, and bullying Gertz never gets old. She's at the end of the day not broken, not needed, but rather just fun and an overall decent but not better alternative to current Thunder options. That's also why my final rating for her is strong, but my recommendation for her banner is by far a big skip. Of course, if you don't care about gameplay, then sure, go ahead, go get him Tiger. I don't blame you at all. Ame is probably the most fun I had in Alchemy Stars for a while. And for everyone that's still listening, thank you for watching, think about joining the Discord, hit that like and sub if you liked the video. That was all from me, and see you next time, when we talk about